What's up, guys? It's a new day, and I got a delivery from Roy, all the way from the Netherlands. That's the T-Tracks. So that means I can start moving forward with the T-Tracks again, doing measurements and cuts and all that fun stuff. So let's get to it. Got the T-Tracks. I got an extra little cube for a Graflex for the V2 lever. I stripped mine out, and my V2, if you hadn't learned it before this, it decided to roll off the shelf that it was on and hit the floor and broke the lever. Well, it stripped out the block. The lever's fine. There we are. Stick them on and see how much of a gap we've got. I know a couple guys have been suggesting that I find like a machinist and shave it down just a little bit, but man, that scares me because you do too much, then they don't fit. So that is a much smaller gap. That's like less than half. My math was it was going to be like 4.5 millimeters, but I think that's even smaller than that, and we can look. We have the technology. 4.85. They all kind of want to slide a little bit, so that is actually right about half of what the gap was for the TOG. I guess I got plenty of T-Tracks for my E11 build and a couple more lightsabers I plan on building. I got a Darth Vader Return of the Jedi stunt, Luke Empire Strikes Back. I think there's another one or two in there. It's kind of hard to get a good view of it, but the gap is much smaller now. Okay, I've warmed up my old laptop with Photoshop on it. My new one doesn't have it, but I need to take measurements again because the measurements I took before, I didn't take very good notes and I don't remember what anything means. So I'm going to do much better measurements. I might even make a drawing of it. Alright, so I got a scope. It's basically the same scope as what they're using there. The only thing is the height of the claw isn't the same. Those are the tall claws and these are the short claws, but the width is the same. So I'm going to use that as my start point. I got my calipers here. I just need to zero them out. Maybe. I wish they made bigger buttons for that. Drove me a little crazy trying to so it is 19.82 84. It kind of shifts a little bit if I wiggle it. So basically it's 20 millimeters. I'm just going to round it off there. So first thing I need to do, let's bring a guide out, and we need to level this picture. Now we got it. Looks about right. So now that we have it level, we can measure out 20 millimeters off this edge and this edge, and we will be able to scale everything appropriately. Alright, so it's difficult for me to see these edges because the shadow. So I'm going to try doing an adjustment. Let me see if I can turn the contrast down a little bit or up. No, up is worse. Turn the brightness way up. Okay, I think I can see those edges now. It looks like right there is the edge for this one. So that gives me a nice line there all the way across for that measurement, which is the cut for 4 of them. And then I need to measure here to there, and that's probably the only one I need to make, there to there, because that's going to tell me the placement of the scope mount block. I'll go ahead and probably measure this as well. And then I need to measure this gap and this length and this length. Another thing is these have 2 different lengths, which I am not going to replicate because that's silly. It should probably, you know, I'm doing an idealized version, so I'm going to make this line all the same for both of these and up here, but I can't see that other side. I don't think they're different, but that's going to be the same line. And oh, this was further out, so this would actually be scaled up a little bit. So this is actually too big by ever so slightly. So this should be, everything should be shrunk a little bit on these, because the distance from here to the measurement, this is closer than here to where we're seeing, so that scale is off. See how complicated this is? I got it backwards. Divide by 115. Okay, there's my number. 0.95 blah 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 blah. So I copy this, and then I multiply that by the rest of the numbers. I should get their correct lengths. Cool. That's our measurements. That's what I'm going with. Agree to disagree, you can. Go for it. But this is what I'm going to go for. Hopefully I don't make it too hideous, because then I'll have to buy more T-tracks. Alright, so I got the measurements. They're fresh in the mind, and not only that, I also printed them so I don't forget them. And they're well labeled this time, so I kind of know, or I don't think I'm going to struggle to figure out what each measurement is. And I've kind of massaged the numbers already, which I didn't do before, to get them to all fit the scale of my barrel. And actually the measurements came out pretty close, you know, within like a centimeter, or like actually within a couple millimeters, once I massaged the numbers. So next thing I need to do, I actually need to find the top of this. I know where the sides are because of these wings, but I need to mark the top because I need to mark where that scope mount is, the scope mount block I should say, and figure out where that's going to be, and then I can orientate the rest of the T-tracks around that. So I'm going to see if I can figure out a clever way to find the 90 degree from these little side grooves for the wings. I'm sure there's a clever way to do this, but I don't know what it is. I'm sure if you're a machinist, you're probably like cringing right now watching me do this stuff. That looks 90 to me. Okay, we have our center line. So now I need to measure off my T-track length for the short, or not the short, but the cut side on here, and then I'll have those pieces and I can mark how far down the scope blocks go on those. And then I gotta cut out the sides of 2 of them to fit the scope block between the ribs, if that makes sense. Basically, it's gonna be like this. Got 1 T-track, 2 T-tracks. Scope mount is gonna sit right in between them, essentially. Like that. Yeah, but I gotta cut out an area for it. Still got to be a little cleaned up, but they're good. Good enough for this. Quick fitting. Alright. Got gaps like crazy right now because everything's kind of shifting and loose. And I got to trim off these ends here for these. But there's our spacing, and it should be aligned correctly, so I can very crudely just kind of draw out this area where the area that needs to be sanded is. I'm going to do a little bit larger than the actual area. I'm going to put them in this bag because they are basically done, minus some tapering the ends. But these guys, they're not done. I have to basically mark out the area for the scope mount block to go between them, and then cut the notch out of the side on each. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to mark that out so I can cut it. I'm not quite sure how far I'm going to have to go. I think I'm actually going to have to cut into this ridge, which is pretty far. There's just not a ton of space between these things. scope block between the T-tracks, and they're not quite like 100% pushed together, but that's okay because I have 4 millimeters all the way around to space, so I should have like small gaps like that, which is gonna look totally fine. Alright, I'm done monkeying around with the T-tracks for now. I need to make a decision on if I want to drill and tap holes in the barrel and in the Webley to mount those scope mount blocks, or if I just want to like try to glue them on. I haven't made up my mind. I don't have I think I have like one drill and tap, so I could thread one hole or one. But I'm not sure that it's the size that I'd want to use. I think it's actually way bigger than I would want to use. Yeah, this is much bigger than I want. I'm gonna do 2 quick experiments with the wood. Both of them are around burning the wood and our disgusting vinegar and steel wool stain, which is even weirder now, believe it or not. Look at that. It looks more orange. Strange. That's so weird. And it's like flakes in there now, like, who knows what it's gonna do this time. So, since I have burnt wood and I have stained wood, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna burn some of this stained wood just to see how it looks if I burn it over the stain, and then I'm going to stain over some of the burn section on this piece of wood and see how it looks compared. I'm hoping that nothing gets weird if I burn the stain, because I think it would do a better job of hiding any seam lines, because if I put this stuff on, more likely I'll have to do a side at a time and it'll leave like a very faint like seam of where I painted it on, you know. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to do a quick burn, and then I'm going to do a quick wipe of the stain and see how things look. Alright, that looks pretty good. I like the way that turned out. You go from like cool to warm. That just kind of makes, it's just gray and dark. Man, I don't know if I want to use this stain. I mean, it looks, cool. I just don't want to hide all the grain like that. If I could only make it lighter consistently. I can't count on this. I can't count on it being watered down at all. Well, even with that, I still got another experiment to do with the True Oil. When I put it on the wood, I'm going to put it on both of these and see how that goes. I'll actually probably do this whole side here in True Oil, that way I see it, you know, unburnt or unstained with the stained and burned. And then I'll probably also do this piece, even though it's not sanded very smooth. That'll be in the next video. Alright, that's it for this video. Check out the blog, propchopshop.com. Yeah, what do you think? Should I do the stain? Should I not do the stain? I got more experiments to do there. And then also, I've got this marked out, so I'm going to be sending that in the next video. Once that's done, then it's real close. So, yeah, we're almost there. It's gonna happen real fast.